Hello everybody, it's Ocelot, and welcome to another New Game Plus guide. This is going to be a continuation of the Eleanor's Twinblade Dex Arcane guide. We'll be defeating 14 out of 15 Remembrance bosses, and this is the equipment we'll end up with. We'll have 2 Gargoyles Twinblades in Flame Art Affinity, we'll have the Clawmark Seal, Omen Smirk Mask, Raptor's Black Feathers, Lionel's Gauntlets and Greaves, the Claw Talisman, Ritual Sword Talisman, Millicent's Prosthesis, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, and in the physic we'll have the Flame Shrouding Crack tier and the Thorny Crack tier. These will be your stats at level 150, 50 Vigor, 16 Mind, 30 Endurance, 49 Strength, 15 Dexterity, and 52 Faith. We get 2 points from the Mask in Strength and 5 points from Millicent's Prosthesis in Dexterity. Here, I'm going to show you the buffing routine. We're going to drink our physic. We're going to put on Golden Vow, then Howl of Shabriri. Then we're going to two-hand our left hand Twinblade, buff it with Flaming Strike. Then we're going to switch to our Twinblade in our right hand from our seal and buff that with Flaming Strike. With all our buffs on, this is going to give us an attack rating of 1,375 on each Twinblade. If you'd rather go with the bleed build, I'll give you the stats and equipment for that as well. So you'll have 2 Gargoyles Twinblades at plus 25 in blood affinity, Dragon Communion Seal at plus 10, you'll have the White Mask, Raptor's Black Feathers, Lionel's Gauntlets and Greaves, Claw Talisman, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, Millicent's Prosthesis, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, and in the physic you'll have the Faith tier and the Thorny tier. Here are your 150 stats: 50 Vigor, 14 Mind, 30 Endurance, 50 Strength, 20 Dexterity, 7 Intelligence, 23 Faith, and 40 Arcane. This is going to be our buffing process. You're going to start with the Flask of Wondrous Physic, Golden Vow, Howl of Shabriri. Then you're going to two-hand your left armament and apply Seppuku. You'll switch from your seal on your right hand to your other Twinblade and apply Seppuku there. You'll fill up your HP and FP, and this will give you an attack rating of 1,049 on each Twinblade. So before we get a second Gargoyle's Twinblade, we're going to need to use the Twin Knight Sword, which we can find in Altus Plateau. So let's go ahead and start the guide. We're going to be heading to Altus Plateau to the Windmill Village. We're going to want to head northwest. There's going to be a pile of corpses. Now I've already picked it up, but on that pile of corpses, that's where you're going to find the Twin Knight Sword. Next, let's go ahead and warp over to Mogwin's Palace. We're going to the farming spot. We're going to want to farm around 200k runes. This is mainly for upgrades. I'm not going to be farming for levels. I'm mainly farming to buy smithing stones from the Twin Maiden Husk. So make sure you have the Gold Scarab equipped, and if you have Gold Pick Alfalfa or if you can craft them, make sure you use those as well. We're going to want enough runes to buy 48 of each smithing stone, smithing 1 through 8. So once you're done farming runes, go back to the round table. Right now we're going to want to buy 48 smithing stones 1 through 8. That's for 1 Gargoyle's Twinblade now, a Twin Knight Sword now, a Clawmark Seal now, and the Gargoyle's Twinblade will be getting in New Game Plus. Now go ahead and fully upgrade your Gargoyle's Twinblade and your Twin Knight Sword. Next, we're going to warp to Caelid, outside of Redbane Castle, right there on my mark. There's a teleporter right outside of the Impassable Great Bridge, which you can use to get inside, and then go to the outside and pick up the Ash of War Flaming Strike. Also inside of Redbane Castle, on that mark, we're going to be picking up the Red Hot Wet Blade. That's so we can apply the Flame Art affinity to our Ash of War that we'll be using. Now this next part is going to be optional. There's going to be a talisman that you can only get after Leyndell becomes the capital of Ash. you're going to want to go to the Forbidden Lands, go into the capital, and pick up the Erdtree's Favor +2. Again, this is optional, and this is where it is on the map. Next, we're going to Raya Lucaria Academy. We're going to respec our character with Renala. First, let's go ahead and apply Flaming Strike to our weapons. Make sure they are in Flame Art Affinity. Now let's go ahead and change our equipment. Equip your Gargoyle's Flame Art Twinblade and your Flame Art Twin Knight's Blade. For the talismans, we're going to want the Claw Talisman, Ritual Sword Talisman, and Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. For now, our fourth talisman is going to be the Dexterity Talisman. Now let's go ahead and change our stats. We want 46 Vigor, 14 Mind, 30 Endurance, 49 Strength, 15 Dexterity, and 52 Faith. Next, we'll be going to Limgrave. We're going to pick up our Sacred Seal. So let's go to this mark on the map. If you have it, go to the Rear Gale Tunnel entrance. Head northwest. We're going to fight this Tibia Mariner. He's going to drop a Death Root, which we're going to turn into Garank for the Clawmark Seal. So now that you have the Death Root, we're going to head to North Dragon Barrow, to this mark on the map. We're going to visit Garank. Fastest way to get there will be the Third Church of Marika. There's a teleporter just north of it. So go ahead and hand over the Death Root. You'll get the Clawmark Seal in return. Go ahead and equip it. Next, we're going to be going to the mountaintops of the Giants. So go ahead and warp to the Giants' Gravepost site of Grace. Head southwest and go to this mark right here. And again, here's the dungeon on the map. Go ahead and go inside. Go all the way through. And just before you get to the boss door, there's going to be a drop off. Drop down. And you're going to pick up the Giant Seal. Next, go to Liurnia Lakeshore site of Grace. Just above, there's going to be an Everjail that we want to go to. So head north from here. There's a Spirit Spring. Jump up, go into the Malefactor's Everjail. We're going to defeat the enemy here for the incantation that he drops. Next, we're going to warp to Road to the Manor and visit Smithing Master Iji. We're going to level up the Clawmark Seal to max to +25. Now let's warp back to the round table. This is just going to be another reminder to make sure that we have at least 12 smithing stones 1 through 8. This is going to be for the Gargoyle's Twinblade that we get in New Game Plus. So now we've used 3 +25 Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones. Just in case you don't have a fourth one, I'm going to show you where there's another one that you can pick up. It's going to be in the Consecrated Snowfields. If you have it, warp to the Yellow Annex Tunnel side of Grace. If not, you can go west from the Inner Consecrated Snowfields side of Grace. Go to the bottom. There's going to be a enemy you have to fight, but past the enemy, you'll get the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. Next, let's pick up some more Memory Stones. So go to Southwest Liurnia of the Lake. Next, I'll mark another location in northern part of Liurnia of the Lakes. It's going to be a Memory Stone here. Now again, this next part's going to be optional. If you want the Shard of Alexander, warp to Starscourge Radahn's arena, talk to Alexander, exhaust his dialogue. Once you're done talking to him there, we're going to Mount Gelmir. Go to this mark from the Seathwater Terminus, head southwest, We're going to talk to Alexander there. Go ahead and exhaust his dialogue. Then we're going back to Crumbling Fair Missoula. Go to the Dragon Temple Altar site of Grace. You'll be going up the lift past this stone sword key, so make sure you have 2 of them. You're going to meet and talk with Alexander. You'll have a little spar with him. At the end of the spar, he's going to give you the best end game talisman, the Shard of Alexander. Now, just in case you didn't get the Omen Smirk mask before Leyndell turned into Ashen Capital, go to the Elfell Inner Wall side of Grace. There's going to be a ladder that you want to climb up. You're going to be using the Halig Tree Helm, and you're going to find it up the ladder here in this part of Elfell. Now, I've already picked it up, but this is the location. This is where you could pick it up. Again, you're going to want to eventually get the Omen Smirk mask, and if you already have it, go ahead and use it. If you don't, use the Halig Tree Knight Helm in the meantime. If you use the Halig Tree Knight Helm, you're not going to be able to wear Lionel's gauntlets. We'll get to that in a second. Here's our stats one more time with the incantations we'll be using. All the Giant's incantations we picked up. So in your memory slots, you'll have Golden Vow, Howl of Shabriri, Giant's Flame Take Thee, Flame Fall Upon Them, Flame of the Fell God, and Burn O Flame. Now again, if you didn't have the Omen Smirk mask, you'll be using the Halig Tree Knight Helm. If you use the Halig Tree Knight Helm, you want to put in lighter gauntlets than Lionel's gauntlets. I'm using Gideon's gauntlets until I pick up the Omen Smirk mask in New Game Plus. Followed my base New Game guide, you will be at least at level 144. Let's go over the equipment one last time. So we have 2 Gargoyles Twinblades with Flaming Strike in Flame Art Affinity. We have the Clawmark Seal at plus 25. We have the Giant Seal in the offhand. We have the Halig Tree Knight Helm, Raptor's Black Feathers, All-Knowing Gauntlets. However, if you have the Omen Smirk mask, you can equip Lionel's Gauntlets. You can also equip the Draconic Tree Sentinel's Gauntlets if you'd like. Lionel's Greaves, and then Talismans, the Claw Talisman, Ritual Sword Talisman, Dexterity Talisman, Round Wing Sword Insignia. In our Physic, we have the Flame tier and the Thorny tier. Before going to New Game Plus, I recommend buying out all the merchants that you can find. Buy out all the items that they have. This is the Twain Maiden Husk inventory, which I'm buying out. Just tie up any loose ends that you think you might want to do before you move into New Game Plus, especially in late game areas such as the Consecrated Snowfields, Mountaintops of the Giants, and Crumbling Fair Missoula. Next, here are the choices I made with the remembrances I had left over. From Mogs, I chose to go with Bloodboon, however you won't go wrong with his Sacred Spear. From Melania's, I took Scarlet Aeonia. I think that's the better of the two. From Malekith's, I took Malekith's Black Blade, however they both are really good. And from the Elden Remembrance, I took the Sacred Relic Sword, but they're both really good weapons to use. Duplicate any remembrances that you would like, and don't forget to turn them into Enya before you move on to New Game Plus. When you're done with everything, go to the round table, rest, and choose to start Journey 2. We're ready to start New Game Plus. So the nice thing about New Game Plus is that everything carries over. All of our stats and armor, weapon upgrades. Here's going to be the buffing process again. We'll put on the Flask, Golden Vow, Howl of Shabriri. We're going to two-hand the left weapon, put on Flaming Strike to buff it, then switch to our Gargoyle's Twinblade in our right hand, Flaming Strike to buff that. So now we have both weapons buffed with Flame. Now you should easily be able to take out this Grafted Scion with ease. Next, go ahead and ride the gate front. We're going to talk to Melina. She's already given us Torrent, but we still need to talk to her, so we can talk to her again later. Let's go ahead and warp back to the first step side of Grace. We're going into the Dragonburnt Ruins. There's a trap chest in there we'll be heading into. Before we do that though, just south of it, there's another side of Grace. You're going to want to pick that up and then head into the Dragonburnt Ruins. And we're doing this is that we're going after our final talisman. We still need to get Millicent's Prosthesis. So just south of this position, we're going to fight Commander O'Neill. He should be really easy to take down. Once you take him down, you're going to get an unalloyed needle, which you want to take east to Sage Gowrie. Going to give Gowrie the needle so he can repair it. He's going to ask you to come back so you can quit out and then reload your game. After you reload your game, we're going to head to the Church of the Plague with the repaired needle, and we're going to give it to Millicent. I'm going to show you the route on screen. I'm going to speed it up though, so if you need to slow it down, go ahead and do so. There's going to be a fire we need to light. There's a barrier blocking our progress, so go ahead and light this fire. Then we can go through the barrier. Just follow my lead on screen, and I'll take you to the Church of the Plague. Go ahead and talk to Millicent and give her the repaired needle. After you give her the needle, you want to rest at the site of Grace. Now this is actually going to trigger Melina. So go ahead and accept her invitation to the round table. But go ahead and warp back to the Church of the Plague. We're going to talk to Millicent again. Exhaust her dialogue. We're going back to Gowrie Shack. So head to the heart of Aeonia, side of Grace, and head east. You'll find Millicent there. Exhaust her dialogue there. And next we'll be going after the Dectus Medallions. So we want to head to Fort Ferrith, and then we want to head to Fort Height. So I'll go ahead and put a marker to our next two destinations. Fort Ferrith, we just need to warp to Church of the Plague and head north and then east. Grab the Dectus Medallion, and then afterwards go ahead and warp back to the Grace we picked up south of the Dragonburnt Ruins. It's going to be the seaside ruin side of Grace. We're going to head directly east. I'm going to show you the route, sped up. If you need to slow it down, slow it down. You now have both halves to the Dectus Medallion. So let's go ahead and head to Altis. Warp to the gate front side of Grace. Follow this path and head into Liurnia. We're going to the Lascar ruin side of Grace. There's a teleporter we're going to take that's going to take us to the south side of the Academy. So once you're teleported, go ahead and take the Grace. We're not going after the Academy Key just yet. We're going to head east. We're going to take the teleporter that takes us just south of Smithing Master Eiji's position. So just follow me on screen. Here's the teleporter. Grab the Grace right outside of Eiji. We're going to head towards Caria Manor. Just follow my character on screen. So from here, we're going to follow a path east. So go ahead and grab this Grace and then follow this path. And you're going to head to the Grand Lift of Dectus. You're going to take the lift up and into Altis Plateau. Head north after you get off the lift. We're going to be heading towards the Erd Tree Gazing Hill site of Grace. You're going to want to pick up that Grace. And then we're going to be going after the Valkyrie's Prosthesis. So I'm going to put 4 marks on the map in order that we're going to be going to them. The first one is a site of Grace outside of Mount Gelmir. Second one is the Valkyrie's Prosthesis. Third one is where we're going to talk to Millicent. And the fourth one is where we're going to get the last talisman that we need. Millicent's Prosthesis. So after acquiring the Valkyrie's Prosthesis, go ahead and warp to the Erd Tree Gazing Hill site of Grace. You're going to head towards the 3rd mark that we made. And you're going to talk to Millicent, exhaust her dialogue, opt to give her the Valkyrie's Prosthesis. And once you're done talking to her, you're going to warp to the Bridge of Iniquity site of Grace. Head east into the Windmill Village. We're going to need to fight the Godskin Apostle. Go ahead and craft as many sleep pots as you can. Equip them, put him to sleep, and easily take care of him. So once the Apostle is taken care of, go ahead and rest at the Grace that appears. This is going to spawn Millicent. Go ahead and take care of Millicent, and she's going to drop Millicent's Prosthesis.
Why are you doing this?
We're going to be replacing the Dexterity Talisman that we have for Millicent's Prosthesis.
Like this, but I will not forget what you have done.
So our full talisman loadout is going to be the Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, Millicent's Prosthesis, Ritual Sword Talisman, and the Claw Talisman. For now, we have the Gargoyle's Twinblade and the Twin Knight Sword, but we're about to replace that Twin Knight Sword because next we'll be going after Radahn, which will open up the way to the Gargoyles. So go ahead and warp to the Church of the Plague. If you have golden runes in your inventory, or if you want to complete a level, go ahead and do so. I'm going to do the Castle Redmane skip. I didn't complete levels just in case you didn't have any golden runes left. I didn't want to be higher level than you are. So I'm just going to call the runes that I have as lost and level up after fighting Radahn. So you want to head south. You want to jump at the edge of the cliff. And you want to do the second jump as the camera is right above your character. You want to fall all the way to the bottom. If you did it right, if you look on the top left, underneath your stamina bar, you'll see the Stake of Marika. Go ahead and choose to revive at the Stake of Marika, and we are now in Radahn's arena. When you go through the teleporter, you're going to want to run away from Radahn on Torrent as soon as you spawn in. So once Radahn has despawned, go ahead and drink the Physic. I put on Golden Vow while I'm on Torrent but I don't put on Howl Shabriri until I'm closer to Radahn. Right about here is where I'm going to jump off Torrent, put on Howl Shabriri, two-hand my left armament, buff it with Flaming Strike, switch to the Gargoyle's Twinblade in my right hand, Flaming Strike, and easily take down Radahn. A few jump attacks, and Radahn's dead. Go ahead and pick up the Site of Grace. We're going to level up. We're going to put 1 point into Vigor. So next we're going to the Fort Heights Site of Grace. We're going to be going down the crater that Radahn made. First boss fight will be the Mimic. Make sure to take off all your seals and all your weapons. You don't have to, but it trivializes this boss fight. Once the boss spawns in, go ahead and put your weapons back on and easily dispatch him. Our next stop is going to be the Ancestral Woods Site of Grace, so go ahead and light that up. We're going to be going after the Gargoyles next, so we're going to be heading towards Siofra Aqueduct. There's a Grace right about where I put my mark. I'll show you exactly where it is on the map. It's a little bit west of where I put my mark. Before we head into the fight, let's head over to the round table first. We're going to start Fia's quest. So go ahead and talk to Fia a few times. You'll know you're done once she gives you the Weathered Dagger. The Weathered Dagger we're going to be given to Dee, who is also here at the round table.
Dear, might I ask something of you?
So give Dee the Weathered Dagger. After you're done talking to Dee, go ahead and rest. Next, we're going to be heading into the room just past Smithing Master Hugh. You're going to find Fia and Dee's armor and bell bearing. Go ahead and pick up Dee's equipment, talk to Fia, use Baldachin's Blessing before you warp out. You're going to warp back underground. We're heading to the aqueduct facing cliffs. Go ahead and run through to Dee's brother. If you hand over the twinned armor set, you can summon Dee in the Gargoyle fight. Up the steps, I'll show you exactly where the summon sign is. I don't use him, but if you have trouble with the Gargoyles, feel free to summon him. Also, don't forget that you have a plus 10 Mimic that we got in the last guide. Now for the Gargoyles, I found it a lot easier to fight them without locking onto them the whole time. So just watch for their attacks, watch for the poison attacks, watch for the area of effect attacks. You're doing enough damage where you don't have to worry too much about getting a lot of attacks in. The few attacks that you do get in will easily take them down. When the first Gargoyle is at 50% health or lower, the second Gargoyle will come in. Hopefully you're able to dispatch the first one before you have to fight the second one. Once the second one comes in, same strategy. Just fight them without the lock-on if possible. If you have trouble, just go ahead and lock onto them. Watch out for the area of effect attacks and a few jump attacks and you'll take them down easily. And with the gargoyles taken down, we now have both of our weapons. We can now dual wield the gargoyles' twin blades. So let's go ahead and take it to the Road to the Manor side of Grace to Smithing Master E.G. Upgrade it to plus 25. Make sure to switch over the Ash of War Flaming Strike from the Twin Knight Sword. Make sure it's in Flame Art Affinity.
So perhaps you...
Next, we'll be going after Margit. So head to the Stormhill Shack side of Grace and head into Stormvale Castle. Now here, I'll be going over the equipment one last time. So Gargoyle's Twinblade, plus 25 in Flame Art Affinity, Clawmark Seal. You can offhand the Giant Seal, but I didn't use incantations so much, so I decided not to offhand it. Halictree Night Helm, Raptor's Black Feathers, Malformed Dragon Gauntlets, that's from the Draconic Tree Sentinel. You can use Gideon's Gauntlets if you'd like also. Claw Talisman, Ritual Sword Talisman, Millicent's Prosthesis, Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, and in the Physic, Flame Shroud and Crack Tier, and the Thorny Crack Tier. And again, we'll go over the order of buffs. We drink our Physic, put on Golden Bow, put on Howl of Shabriri. We're going to two-hand our left-handed Twin Blade, buff it with Flaming Strike, switch from the Seal to the Gargoyle's Twin Blade in our right hand, buff it with Flaming Strike, and send it.
Foul tarnished. Well, thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in
And
thy
that's going to be it for part 1.
tarnished.
Thanks everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment down below. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them down in the comments. Before we leave, we're going to level up. Let's go ahead and put 1 point in the Vigor. See you on the next one. Bye.